Hello and welcome to Conversations. I am your host, Melanie Mack, and I am so thrilled to be in studio today with the fabulous Sarah Wilson. Sarah is a full-service design professional with a talent for creating extraordinary custom interiors. She specializes in helping successful professionals in and around Redlands transition into new living spaces. Hanging out in her mother's upholstery shop there until her early childhood introduced her to the world of design. Sarah has used that base as a blueprint for life. She has spent her whole life rearranging, painting, and accessorizing each home she inhabits, as well as providing inspiration and guidance for family and friends. Her college roommates can recall often returning home after a long day to find their home rearranged. She works with a variety of clients, but focuses on assisting CEOs, doctors, and other healthcare specialists, business owners, and other professionals whose living situations have changed due to relocation, career moves, empty nester situations, marriage, divorce, or related factors. She is committed to creating personalized, one-of-a-kind spaces for each project, noting that no two clients are the same and their homes shouldn't be either. To that end, she says she is always on the hunt online, in thrift stores, and elsewhere for the most unique antiques and accessories, including lamps, candles, books, tables, and chairs. Sarah collects many of the pieces during her extensive travels around the world. Sarah earned her interior design degree from the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles and is the only area design professional who grew up in St. Croix, which gives her a unique perspective on design. Sarah Wilson, thank you for being on the show with me today. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Outstanding. So tell me, what led you to a career in design? I know that you began your career in corporate.
Right.
How did you make that transition?
I've always had a love for interior design. I mean, I know that's like the big cliche thing to say, but it's true. Like you said in the introduction, my mom had me in her upholstery shop when I was younger, before I even started school. And, in each home that we moved to, my mom always made changes, and that just kind of gave me a love for interior design. I had actually, for years, been trying to figure out how to get into interior design as a business, but life happens. You have to feed your children. And so I got a master's of information technology from the University of Redlands and went into the information technology field. I'm a single mom. It's very lucrative, and I did that for 10 years.
Outstanding. I love it when my guests come in and they provide a mic drop. So say that again, a master's in
information technology from University of Redlands.
Outstanding. So with that, you did that for 10 years.
Correct.
And had you been interior designing during that time, or was there just kind of a natural flow or into one career that led to this new opportunity?
Well, honestly, what happened was the way we did business changed, and it became more of a collaborative session. I'm an introvert, and that was very difficult for me to be sitting in with a group of people who are talking and constantly interacting with each other. It was a lot for me. And so my company had a master retirement plan. At 6 years, you were fully vested.
Oh, wonderful.
And so at 6 years, give or take a couple of days, I resigned and decided that I was going to just take that master retirement fund and go ahead and go back to school and finally get on the path to interior design.
So it was a clear plan for you. You were focused. You knew exactly what you were going to do, because some people leap and they build their wings as they're flying.
Well, there was a plan for the school portion, and I knew I was going to go into business for myself. But I would say that my first year was really rough because I had never been in business for myself, and I struggled to get clients in the door. How am I going to attract new people? And it wasn't until I realized that I really had to get out there and actively network. That's when business really started to pick up.
Excellent. So with your business, it's Chancery, correct? Chancery Interior Designs. Am I saying that?
Chancery.
Chancery Interior Design. So when you launched Chancery, what were some of the, like, what did you put in place? Did you put your corporate filings and those things in place? Did you have someone assisting you? How did that come about?
Okay, so I am a researching guru. Like, my friends know if there's a question, they can ask me. And so basically, since I already knew that I was going into business myself, with that last professional class that I took at FITM, professional business class, I asked all the questions I needed to ask.
Okay.
I went online and researched what I needed to do, what filings I needed to have. And so basically, that by the time I launched my business, I had already filed my DBA papers. I had a logo, my website was up. I was ready, with the exception of the how do I get people into the door.
Well, but I love that you had all of the heavy lifting
Yeah.
done, because so many people will just kind of launch out into the deep, and and they don't have their infrastructure in place. So your infrastructure was set.
Yeah. I started out as a sole prop, and as I continued, I think it was like the first 6 months, I just said, hey, you know what? I don't necessarily want the liability of my business tied up into my personal
Okay.
stuff. And so I went ahead and filed as an LLC. And so that's where I am right now. I mean, the state of California Secretary of State website is a rich resource. It talks about all the things that you need to do. And I basically just went on there, did my research, and filled out the forms that they asked to be filled out and sent them in.
Wonderful. Now, you talked about, you said with all of the infrastructure in place, you said the one thing that was challenging was now getting your clients. So
Right.
how did you build that book of business?
Honestly, I first put out some ads on Craigslist. And I'm going to say that
Craigslist is good for something,
Right.
It can be good for something.
I
That's a positive.
actually got a client off of there, and I just laughed today thinking, like, he really got a great deal on his total massive kitchen remodel, because I was new and I didn't know what to charge. But what really turned the tide for me was joining a couple of networking groups where I was able to interact with people where they got to know me, and then they would feel comfortable referring business to me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So what was it like with that first client, and just you at that point you are launched in the deep.
Right.
So what was it like working with this client, and perhaps not knowing what you didn't know? How did you push through that?
Okay, so listen, when I got the client, I was scared out of my mind. So what I did is I had been working with another designer who had a lot more experience in the field, and I invited her to partner with me on that first job. And so she
wonderful.
really mentored me through the whole job. She showed me resources in our local area that I didn't know, like, kitchen and bath showrooms, just things that I needed to know. But even though I had lived in Redlands so long, my life was basically in LA because that's where I was working. And so I wasn't aware of what was around. I'm telling you honestly, without her, it would have been a whole different kind of first client experience.
So ultimately, I'm sure the first client was very pleased.
They were, yeah.
I mean, because you are, I've seen your work. You are immensely talented, just impeccable
you.
taste. And how does one make a transition from IT professional? I mean, what's the connection, or is there a connection between the two and design?
I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a connection, but I will say that being in the IT space has really given me a leg up on project management. The thing that I did as in the field, I was a quality engineer, and basically I was creating test cases to test software before it went out to investment professionals. So I had to have repeatable steps to follow each time I tested it in a way that if I was sick, someone could just pick it up and do it. And so for my business, I still have to have repeatable steps. Regardless of what I'm designing, there are 15 steps that I follow all the time. And so since I've always been in the mindset of I have to follow this routine process for me is easy. You know, I meet a lot of people, they say, "Oh, interior design, it's so fun." There's actually a lot of process that goes into it to make a project run smoothly.
Speak to that. What are some of the processes that are involved with interior design? Walk us through it.
Okay, so for me, my process always begins with an initial consultation. I will go out and sit with the client for a 2 hour period. It's a paid consultation. And the reason why it's paid is because I want to give you the value of my knowledge. I don't want to hold anything back because I'm trying to get you as a client. So it's paid. I go out and I sit with them, and I'm not necessarily asking questions like, you know, what color tile do you want or anything. I really am sitting with them and getting to know them and getting to understand, how are you going to use this room? What's the function? How do you want to feel when you come in the room?
Yes.
Tell me what's important to you. Maybe you went on a family vacation and you just loved the feeling that you had when you were in there, and you want to recreate that in your home. And then, you know, I actually get people to give me a tour of their whole home so that I just get an idea of who they are as a person. So after the consultation is done, I present them with my contract. If they want to move forward, we sign, we get that retainer.
Okay.
And then I go back, and with the help of my assistant, we pull together a presentation of finishes, and we create a 3D model for them. And I like to give myself 2 to 3 weeks to come up with everything. And then when that's done, I go back to them and I give them a full presentation.
Okay.
And the reason not everyone does a 3D model right up front, but the reason I do it is because I feel like if you're hiring an interior designer, it's probably because you don't have an idea of what to do in your space. And I want you to see what it could look like with all the finishes that I've chosen for you. And so throughout the whole process, it may be long, but you still know what the end result is going to look like. So if everything is agreeable, you love everything, you might want to tweak a couple of things. I then go back and get the pricing for everything, and I present that as a whole for the whole room. So you have an idea of what the budget of that room is going to be.
Okay.
So say I come back to you and the budget is $15,000 and you only wanted to spend $12,000. We can make adjustments to the things that I've chosen for you. We can change a faucet to maybe something that's not as pricey as the one that I chose for you initially, and try to make adjustments. I mean, obviously, even though I give you an estimate, that's not the complete budget because there are always things that come up along the project. I don't know what the shipping is up front. I have to add that. The tradesperson might open up your wall and find something in there, and then, you know, we got to address that. And so that might be additional cost. But give or take, usually the budget stays within an acceptable parameter. And no work happens unless someone approves the change, and then we move forward. So there's all the ordering and shipping and everything that goes on. And then at the end, say it's a master bedroom, I have one day that's the installation day. And I go in, I ask you not to be there. Very HGTV. And then
HGTV, if you're listening, Sarah Wilson, Chancerie.
I'll go in and I'll install everything with my team, and then I come out and give you a review. A kitchen
that's beautiful.
A kitchen is a little bit different because it's kind of like the work is going on, but still at the end with the kitchen, I like to style everything and then have you come in and see it like clean and done. And then we will actually go through the room and see if there are any discrepancies on what you thought, or if something doesn't look quite what you wanted it to be. And I will address that list of discrepancies. If everything is to your satisfaction, then I actually will give my clients a binder that has everything that's a part of the project, so that if they ever want to buy something more, I'm gone. They don't have to go through me. They have their binder. All their warranties are in there. It's all in one place. And they sign off. I give them the final invoice. They pay whatever is left, and we're done.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go back to something that you said about the initial the consultation, and you said that it's a paid consultation. Talk about that, because so many of us as entrepreneurs, we'll give that free, whether it's 30 minutes, an hour of our time. And I disagree with that. I agree with you that it should be, there's value to your time. Time is a commodity.
Exactly.
And so what's your philosophy and thinking behind charging for a consult?
I feel like when you pay for something, it holds value to you. When you get something free, it's not as valuable. I'm a professional. When you go to the doctor, even if you just go because you have a bump on your arm, you pay for that before they
Yes, you
give
do.
you any treatment. And so I feel like my services are valuable as well. I'm going to come in and basically change the way that you live. But I want you to hold value to the information that I'm giving you. I mean, just like your doctor, I've gone to school to get this knowledge. It's time that I have to take away from a project that I might be working on. And so it's a drop in the bucket in what you're going to spend on this project. And it's just a way to set the tone for the rest of how it's going to move forward. And honestly, I started at a super low rate and I got a lot of tire kickers. They'd pay it, I'd come, and then nothing would happen with the project. And I have found that as I raised my rate, the people who are willing to pay for that consultation are serious and they're ready to move into their project.
I absolutely
And those are the
agree.
type of people that I want to attract, because my time is valuable and I don't want to be going everywhere just kind of like chatting with people.
Yes. I hope that that's a word for many of our listeners out there that are executives, or whether you're an entrepreneur, you're launching out and starting your business. Your time is valuable, and you may not know how to price something initially, but recognize that your time has value, and the knowledge and skills that you've acquired, particularly as a seasoned executive, is worth something. So never undervalue your time. So I think that's so important that you spoke to that. Tell us about what was, give us one of the best designs that you've done, or something where you had the most fun with a client and a particular design.
Okay, so I actually just finished a laundry room in Culver City.
I saw that, and it's amazing.
So this was a great experience because the home is a mid-century modern. And I came to the initial consultation and I already had like a full array of colors that I wanted her to look at. I love color. I'm not the white kitchen person. Like, I will do a white kitchen for someone, but I really am a full color person. And I showed her this array of colors and she was like, "Oh my God, I love this. I love color." Her lanai is yellow. Her kitchen is orange. And so it was right up her alley.
Yes.
And so for me, it was so much fun because I got to go full force in the way that I love to go where color is concerned. And it matches her house so perfectly. Like, when you walk in that laundry room, it doesn't seem like the rest of my house is mid-modern and this laundry room is very like farmhouse or just anything else. Like, it flows well with the house and the space that's already there. Yes. And what made it really great for me is that my client is a professional. She's an executive at Sony.
Okay.
And this is the type of client that I like, because she basically, I showed her the plan, I showed her the 3D model, she agreed to it, and she just let us work. We worked all the way to the end.
Oh, that's ideal.
Exactly. Like, she trusted us to handle her laundry room, and that's what I do. Myself and my contractor worked until the end. Everything was done according to her specifications. We went through the deficiencies, addressed those, and she was happy, and it was easy. It went smoothly because she just trusted me to be the interior designer, and that's the type of client that I like.
Excellent. And it's so beautiful. This is one of the people. This is one of the best laundry rooms that I've seen. I mean, it's just, it has so much character. It's vibrant. It's just a beautiful space. And as we near the end of this conversation, I'm sure that Sarah will tell you where you can find it and
Absolutely.
where they can see the photos of that. Tell us about one of the worst, or what makes a difficult client or project.
I wouldn't say that I've come across a difficult client so far, but I do have a project that has been very difficult, and it more so has to do with my interaction with the contractor.
Okay.
I don't mind working with anyone's contractor, but in this particular instance, it's just been difficult to work with him because he's been questioning all of my design decisions with the client. And for me, I'm the one who asked him to join me on this project, and it's just kind of been difficult because I'm like, we just want you to work. The client's already expressed everything that she likes with me, and I've come up with a plan, and I just need you to execute it. I don't need you to ask the client any questions about, well, this is what I would do if this was my bathroom, because that's just not your role. And
Right.
that has been really difficult. And we're not going to work together again because I if a contractor brings me on, I defer to him because it's his client. And so when I bring a contractor on, I would like them to defer to me because it's my client.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
so that has been a little bit difficult. And I mean, this guy's work is excellent. Don't get me wrong. Like, his craftsmanship is amazing. But that angst between us has been very uncomfortable because it puts the client in the middle in an uncomfortable position.
Oh, I'm
and
sure.
that's the thing that I don't like. Like, I could deal with the angst if it's just the two of us, but when the client is in the middle, that just creates a problem that I don't appreciate.
He said, I don't appreciate it.
I mean, because it's my job to handle it for the client so that they don't have to answer any of those questions. And so when he's constantly asking them questions about things that we've already gone over. And let me be clear, when I am doing a design project, I come with everything. I come with the floor plans. I show you where everything is going to be. I
Yes.
create an electrical plan. So if there are any questions, like, I'm walking through the whole project with you before we even begin. And if there are any questions, you just need to call me. I'm a text away, a call away, and say, hey, I noticed this. And when I can work with a contractor like that, it's a much better project. It's easier. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. it's just better.
I couldn't agree more. Talk to us a little bit about, I would say that being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. And so, but more and more women are venturing into this particular lane. I think I saw something that I posted months ago, or maybe a year ago, that says entrepreneurship is the new retirement.
Right.
Which I saw that somewhere, and I absolutely love it. But talk to us about why you believe that entrepreneurship is important, particularly for women.
Well, I will say that we all know that when you're out in corporate America, women are not being paid in the same manner. You know, we get paid less for doing the same job. Well, that's one thing. And then we also don't necessarily have a voice in corporate America from the standpoint of, if we address someone in the same manner as our male counterpart, we're often seen as being aggressive. I've encountered that myself.
Yes.
And so I feel like, as an entrepreneur, I'm kind of charting my own course. I don't necessarily have to worry about being paid less than someone else because I'm the one who's setting my price structure.
Right.
I'm not an aggressive person. I don't do conflict with people. And so if I'm in a situation where I'm in charge of what's happening, the conflict can be much lower, and then I don't have to be seen as aggressive. I can be assertive and say, no, this is how it needs to be for my client. But I just feel like there's a power in knowing that I'm the boss, you know?
Yes.
It's like, yeah, I'm running this. You know, there might be mistakes that I do, but it's my own mistake. I'm going to own up to it. I'm going to deal with the consequences, but I'm in charge of this. and I don't have to ask for anyone's approval or if it's okay. I'm boss lady. And I like that.
Yes. Sarah is definitely a boss. And don't you find that there's a freedom that comes with that? I think there's a freedom in being creative and just the way you're able to explore how you want to pursue a project or client because it's on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, some people when they think about entrepreneurship, they think about freedom from the 9 to 5. I'm gonna have so much time on my hands. I can do whatever
not
I
at all.
want. Honestly, it's not about the freedom of the 9 to 5. It's more about the freedom to set your hours to what you need it to be.
Yes.
So I recently made a change on my website, but I hadn't finished my portfolio page, and I figured I'm coming on. People will probably go to my website. I want them to see what my work is. So yesterday, I actually worked until 11 in the evening until I had to go pick up my son. I wouldn't do that for anyone else. There's no way,
Right.
working corporate America, you'd catch me working until 11. But it doesn't seem like an angst to me because all my efforts are for myself. But then there are some days when it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm tired. And I can pack everything up and I can go home and I can go take a nap for a couple of hours. And then I can come back later or not. That, I think, is the most empowering thing to me. Like, one of the biggest things for me in corporate America was working from home. Like, if my work is getting done, it shouldn't matter where I am.
It shouldn't matter where you are.
But people don't, that's not the culture. They want to see you in the office from 8 to 5,
Listen,
right?
I was right. I was in a setting where I had a boss that said, well, and my position was one where I had to be out in the field constantly. And so the comment was made to me that I needed to be in the office more and to just go around to some of my other colleagues and just wave so that
they could see you.
see you. And I thought, are you kidding me?
Right.
Are you serious? I just think it's not a very progressive way to work. And I think with the advent of new technologies and the way people are shifting and how they work.
Right.
I think it's old think to think that someone needs to be in an office setting behind a desk 9 to 5 or whatever the hours are to get work done.
I mean, not only that, like, I'm a single mom and my son is very active in theater arts, and I want to be available to go and see what he's doing. I want to be available, when he was younger. He's 18 now, so it's not so much. But even now, because he's not driving, he has a job. And so I'll break and go pick him up from home to take him to work and then take him back. And working in corporate America wouldn't be conducive to that. It's just I can set appointments around what I need to set appointments around. There are some weeks that I might be in my office for 3 hours because I'm on the road at the tile showroom, at the kitchen showroom, visiting job sites. And it's just, actually, it's so funny. This week, this is how I know, like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I went to my old dentist because I have a cap and it broke off. And I went back over there and his daughter said to me, like, oh, wow. You're not clenching your jaws anymore. Like, I'm looking at your jaw and it's so relaxed. Like, I had a mouth guard. I was getting Botox just to relax my jaw. And she was like, wow, yeah, you look so relaxed. And I said, yeah, I'm working harder than I ever worked, but I'm doing it for me and I'm relaxed. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
It makes a world of difference. I'd mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I think, there was a book that I came across. I think it's an ebook, but the author is David Finkel, and he talks about building a business and not a job, and just the difference in building a business for yourself and what comes with that. And yes, I do agree with you that some people think that it's just about the freedom and, I'll have, much more time to just, I can go see a movie midday, whatever it is. But actually, I would say that you're pulling more hours when you're working for yourself. But it's different when you're building something, when you're building legacy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every minute that I put in, it benefits me. It benefits my son. He's not an interior designer. He never will be. But
But he's watching.
I was just
He's
going to
watching
say,
how you work.
so I went into business his senior year. And one of the first things that they did in the senior year was write a paper about what they wanted to do in the future. And I'm a crier. He read this to me and I was like so moved. He basically said in his paper that, prior to this, I thought 9 to 5 was the only way to live life. You graduate, you go to college, you graduate, you get a 9 to 5. He's a singer. And he said, my mom leaving her corporate job and starting her own business has given me a new window into something that I can do. Like, I don't
make
have
me cry,
to work.
Sarah.
I don't have to work for someone else. I can go and do something else.
Yes.
And for me, like, if nothing else ever pans out, him opening that window into his brain is payment enough. I mean, it really isn't. I have to pay my rent and everything, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And it's important that they see that there are different avenues and different paths that that one can take. I was in a meeting recently, and someone was asking about college for, every young girl. And I said, I'm not trying to be controversial, but I said, I don't think that for every girl that college is necessarily, her path.
Right.
And, I think that you can go at different times in life and different ways.
Yeah.
And so I said, I don't think that equates to success for every young person.
No, it doesn't. I mean, myself, I'm a big advocate of education. Whatever I attempt, I always try to start with education first, but not everybody operates that way. Some people are very hands-on, and that's okay. I mean, there's so many successful people who have not gone the path of college. They just have persevered. I'm not saying that college maybe would have helped them to shortcut, but it doesn't. My son is probably going to die when he hears this because I'm always on the college tip with him. But
so am I. With my boys, yes.
College doesn't have to be for everyone. Like, there are other trades that you can learn. I mean, if you love to do hair, you can go do that. There's no shame in following your path in a different way. I mean, honestly, if I could have figured out how to do interior design without getting a degree, I would have done it because I have the natural affinity.
Yes.
So that's not really what I went for. I went more to learn the process, and it was very valuable.
What kind of advice would you give women that are interested in, as you talked about, you were in IT for 10 years, working, in the corporate world, which so many of us, we know what that feels like in that space. But then you did a pivot, going back to school, getting another degree, and doing something completely different from your initial skill set, and you were able to build upon that. What kind of advice would you give women that are looking to pivot in their careers?
Number one, start a savings account.
Number one.
The first couple of years in business can be very, very rough, very brutal from a payment standpoint. I learned that the very difficult way because I did not start a savings account, and it was rough. So I'd say that. But really, honestly, starting a business is not something that you should do on a whim. You should gather all the information that you ever thought you needed and that you didn't need. Look into what the local laws are concerned starting a business. How much does it cost to get a business license? How much does it cost? Like, is there a benefit to you being a sole proprietor, or should you get an LCC? Should you be a corporation? Don't mix your personal money with your business money. Don't think that you have to go back and get a degree. But that doesn't mean that you
Okay.
don't need to take classes. You
Right.
might need to take a couple of classes down at your local community college. Maybe you take accounting. Maybe you take like a business class to familiarize yourself with the process. You know, Small Business Association has tons of classes geared directly to women to get you on the path, because it being an employee and being an owner, the mindset is so vastly
It's
different.
night and day.
Yeah.
Polar opposites.
Yeah. You don't even realize how much your company does that you are now going to have to take over. Like, you're about to be a marketer. You're about to be an accountant. You're about to be everything. Like, you're the thing until
Business and legal affairs,
Yeah.
human resources,
Right.
just everything.
Just everything. I mean, until you get to the point in your business where you can start hiring people to do certain things. So, yeah, I have been listening to podcasts to learn about different marketing strategies. I'm in Facebook groups to learn about visibility, to bounce ideas off of other people. So you really have to be committed and get invested in making that pivot before you just kind of like go out on a whim. I mean, it's great if you have like a husband and he can kind of support you while you do your thing, or a wife, depending on your sexual orientation. But as a single mom, that first year was rough. Like, rough. But
I love
yeah.
that you're transparent about it, because, some people make it seem like, oh, yeah, I had this idea and I just went for it. And, and they,
I mean,
they don't peel back the curtain so
Yeah.
that we can see, what it took
Yeah.
to actually build something.
And you really have to be willing to open yourself up and be transparent and reach out to someone who's gone down that road before. I mean, I have young designers contact me on various social media or via email, my website, and say, hey, would you be willing to answer some questions for me about whatever? I'm considering doing that. And I dispense the information very freely, because I want them to be successful and not necessarily go through that first year angst that I did.
Yes.
And just be realistic, like, yeah, maybe don't try this, do this. Because, yeah, I wish I had had someone similar to help me through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And I love that you dispense the information so freely. Some women talk about this perceived, whether it's, in some instances it's real, but they talk about this competitive nature among women, and in so many cases women will not share how in what they do. And so you're saying that when someone comes to you freely you freely share information because you want them to succeed.
I said something similar. I have two best friends. We went to college together. We lived together. When I was pregnant with my son, we all lived together. I'm still friends with them 20-some years later. And I was talking to them about this, and they said, well, I mean, you're training your competition. And I said, no one can be Sarah but Sarah.
There you go.
So it doesn't matter, even if someone's in my same town and I give them all the information to be an interior designer, their twist on it is going to be completely different than mine. And whoever wants to work with me is going to work with me, and whoever wants to work with them is going to work with them. And that's just the way it goes.
Right.
Like, something about me, because when you're a business owner, a small business owner, you are your business. Like, whatever you put out, that is you. And so whoever's going to be attracted to me is going to be attracted to me.
And don't you find that I look at the investment world, and investors are always looking to invest in the person, even when they love a project or a business. Ultimately, they're investing in you. They're investing in the person that is going to execute this plan. So I agree with you that no one can do what Sarah can do.
Yeah.
So, even if they have the same knowledge, they may apply it differently. And, personality-wise, and, you just never know what's going to click with someone.
Right.
So I think there's space for all of us.
Absolutely. And it just makes a richer community if you can share. Just share. and they'll share.
Just share, people.
Just give the information.
Just share the information.
I mean, unless you're a business coach, just share.
So let's talk about. So when someone wants to work with you, I mean, you talked about referrals. Mm-hmm. What's your website? How do people get in contact with you?
Okay. My website is www.Chanceray Designs. And Chanceray, I'm going to just tell you a little story about that. I didn't come up with that. My mom did.
Okay.
Shout out to Mom, because she's always telling me I owe her money. She
wants those royalties.
I have two sisters on my mom's side, and my oldest sister's name is Chantal. And then my name is Sarah, and my youngest sister, her name is Rachel. And so one day we were sitting around, and my mom was like, hey, I have a great name for a business. Like, just put the three names together, Chanceray. That would make a great name. And I was like,
oh, that's
you
beautiful.
are right. And so she's always asking me for royalties.
Shout out to Mom. I love that.
I told her she didn't trademark it, so sorry.
I have a trademark person if you need one.
Okay. Okay.
She's wonderful.
So I'm at Chanceray Designs everywhere. On Instagram, I'm most active on Instagram. I post at least 2 to 3 times a day. Usually it's projects that I'm working on, or if I'm somewhere and I see something that's really cool, or I got a new chair because I'm always collecting old chairs. I'm on Facebook. I do Facebook Live. I'm trying to be more active on Facebook Live, so I'd like to interact with people. Twitter, I'm on there, but I'm not really on Twitter. It's really just my Instagram feed that just gets put on Twitter.
Okay.
But yeah, someone, and call me. 909-810-8008. Text me. I'm a texter.
Give that number again.
909-810-8008. But only for interior design projects. Don't be just calling me.
And remember, there is a fee for her consultation. This is not a free consult, people.
Right. I do give a free 10-minute consultation if you call me on the phone and you just kind of want to discuss your project and see how I operate. And then I have a 30-minute in-office consultation that you pay $20 to reserve the time.
Okay.
And then when you come in, I give you your $20 back.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, just, to make sure that you're going to come.
Yes.
Because you want your $20 back.
So spell the website for us.
It's CHANSAERAE designs with an S.com.
Chanceraydesigns.com is where you can find Sarah Wilson. So talk to us again about, so your mom came up with the name.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in Redlands. Are you providing services to clients globally, domestically? How is that working?
I am providing, if you want to pay, I am providing service to you. I have a couple of friends that I've done e-designs for as far as Florida. Like I said, I just finished a laundry room here in Culver City. I've done work in Apple Valley. I travel. My son is 18. I have no one at home to kind of like stay around. So if someone's willing to pay for my travel fee, I'm there. I'm good for that.
Excellent.
My passport is active. In case, you're like in Europe and whatever.
Sarah has a passport, y'all. Open for global business. Very important, very key.
Actually, since the market that I'm focusing on is probably closer to LA, probably in a year or so I'll be moving in this direction. But the more clients I get out here, the easier it is for me to make the decision to move out here.
Sure.
So if you're out here in Los Angeles County, don't feel like because I'm in Redlands, that's an impediment. Contact me and I can travel to you.
Outstanding. I want to mention that Sarah is a wonderful member to BrunchNet. We have a group that gets together once a month, Executive Women, and she is such an invaluable member and just such a wonderful spirit. Her knowledge, her expertise. I get to see. Fortunately, I get to see her once a month, people. And you're meeting her now. But I just want to say that it's so wonderful having you as part of that conversation and that group. Just sharing, because you do share, and it's a group of women that don't mind collaborating
Right.
their collateral. So thank you for being a part of that.
Thank you for opening that up, because really, honestly, I've been looking for something like that. And this is just, it's amazing. Because business women, women of color, we need something. So kudos to you for creating that.
Thank you. Thank you. BrunchNet. You can find us. We meet once a month, but we have incredible members. Sarah's one of them. And again, it's just a group of entrepreneurial women that get together, and executive women, to talk about business. We kiki for maybe 5 minutes, but then it's business. So, again, I wanted to talk to you about also what it's like. I mean, you've talked about being a single mother, and you launched your business when your son was a senior in high school.
Yes.
So how difficult was that?
I'm going to say that honestly, without the help of friends, which this has been the case, his whole life, without the help of friends, I probably would not have survived.
Okay.
When I went back to school, I obviously wasn't working, and I had friends that allowed me to stay in their home free of charge for. Then that first year, like I said, was really rough, and I really had family and friends rally around me and help financially when I just was at the bottom of the barrel. Again, I would not have made it without them, like super friends out of the woodwork that maybe I haven't even spoken to in years, but they were willing to help me move past the point. And I'd even say the guy where my office is, he's been amazing to me, because he is all about helping small businesses succeed. And so he's been amazing. Yeah.
That's also a testament to who you are, that, people, your friends would open up their homes and just, be the underpinning as they see you building something and really going after what you want to do in your dream, and being very successful in it. So
I wouldn't say that I'm 100% successful yet. I still have some dry spots, but I am definitely moving forward. And honestly, without the support of my friends, and like I said, my family, they support me no matter what. My sisters, my mom, they're always there for me. And then my two besties, one here in Los Angeles, one in Maryland. Like, we're on Apple Chat all day, every day. Talking about whatever's going on with any one of us. We try to vacation with each other every other year. They have really, oh my goodness, they have carried me so far. And then even friends, like, honestly, I'm going to say, like, my first year was rough. We were homeless for a while, and I had a friend pay my first month's rent to get me into an apartment. And without her, I don't even know. Like,
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So that's why I said start a savings account. Yes. So that you don't have to go through that if you're deciding that you want to move forward in business. Like, be safe with your money. I wasn't. Let me be a cautionary tale.
But your courage and tenacity, just that fearlessness. I mean, even in the face of such adversity, you pressed on.
I just always think to myself, I was sitting in bed last week, and I cannot go back to corporate America. And so I have no choice. Not that I can't. I mean, I could.
Right.
But that is just not even an option for me. And so I have no choice, but despite adversities, whether it's through my own decisions or the fates, I have to keep moving forward, because this is, I truly believe, what I was meant to do. I find such fulfillment in it. And God has shown me so many different ways where he's made a way out of no way for me. And so there's obviously, this is what I have to do. And so my personality is like, that happened. It really sucked. Okay, what I need to do to, like, next steps to move forward. You got to do what you got to do.
Yes. Sarah, you mentioned some podcasts that you listen to. Mm-hmm. Are there any that you would recommend to our listeners that would be helpful as in their entrepreneurial pursuits?
Okay, so I listen to quite a bit. There's one that's called Biz Chicks. It's talking about women in business, and that is a really good one because there are a lot of things that we do as women. We want to do everything. We want to keep our houses. We want to keep our kids. We want to keep the business going. And ultimately, we are the ones who suffer. And she talks about giving yourself the freedom to hire a cleaning lady, hire someone to handle something that you can't do. So that's a really good resource. My all-time favorite, shout out, it's called A Well-Designed Business, and I've actually been on as one of the presenters. It's a podcast for interior designers, but honestly, anyone can listen to it and just substitute interior design for whatever. She really talks to us about what it takes to run a business. We're creative. We can do the interior design side, but a lot of people fall by the wayside because they don't have the business side intact. And she's talking to you real talk all the time about how to be in business. She brings on, marketers. She brings on accountants, lawyers. She talks to everyone. That's like my all-time favorite. Luann Nagara, A Well-Designed Business. Shout out to her. What's another one that I listen to? I actually listened to one called The Good Life, which is really this guy. He talks to very successful people across the spectrum, and at the end of the day, he distills down. The question is like, what do you consider a good life? So that's a really good one that I like to listen to a lot. I'm just kind of looking here on my thing. I have so many of them. I've been listening to TED Talks have one.
TED Talks are wonderful.
Yeah. There's another one called The Business of Design by Kimberly Seldon. I listened to that one. She talks to the designers about that 15-step process that I mentioned.
Okay.
The Immigrant Entrepreneur. I'm an immigrant. I'm an entrepreneur. I listened to that one.
How does St. Croix influence your design?
I feel like I'm a very laid-back person because of the way...
It's so beautiful in LA.
Yeah. Because of the way that I was raised. I'm very laid back. I kind of let things just wash over me. And I honestly feel like I'm at my most relaxed self when I'm in St. Croix. Like, I land and it's just like I'm back to myself. It's just... Even though we're American, it's a distinct culture. Like, everyone is saying good morning to everyone. Yes. Everyone is polite. It's just, yeah. And it's bright and colorful there. We were owned by the Danes once upon a time. And, like, our downtown streets, like, the buildings are yellow. They're pink. They're bright blue. With that sunshine, no smog. Everything is just so vibrant. And I think for me, like, that's where my love of color. It's just, there's color everywhere. The deep blue of the ocean, the contrast of the sand. So, yeah, definitely I think growing up on St. Croix, I just had a different upbringing and it just flows through me.
It colors your work.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
Colors your design. So it's been so wonderful just having this conversation with you and learning more about Chanzerie and I don't want to abbreviate it, Chanzerie Interior Design. And I just think just the history of the name and learning about the support that you've received along the way, I think that is truly inspiring to our listeners, knowing that it may not be an easy journey. And I don't think it ever is.
No.
But just knowing that when you are passionate about something that the universe will really rise up to support you and send those people that are supposed to be in your path to help at the right time.
For sure.
And it just seems like you are the embodiment of that. And you're such I describe you as just a quiet force. You're just such a force. And, I always love your energy and just your knowledge and, there's just a sweetness about you.
Thank you.
But fierce, she is a boss. She is a boss. And
my son knows that very well.
At 18, right? I know. He's like, I have a 19-year-old and he's still on this whole Europe kick because he studied abroad.
Okay.
last semester, and so he's like, "Oh, mom, like the restaurant's here, and everything is just has to be European for
Yeah.
him," which is hilarious to me. But because I love it just as much as he does. But yeah, I think it's just so wonderful, just your time and the projects that you've shared. Again, share with our listeners how they can find you, and for those that want to work with you, how they need to reach out to you.
So if you want to work with me, go to my website, www.chanceredesigns, which is CHANSAERAE designs.com. Fill out my contact form, get in touch with me. I'll give you a call back. I'll give you an email. I mean, call me, text me, inbox me on Instagram, on my Facebook page. However, I'm a technology person coming from the IT field. So however you reach out to me, it's on my phone. I can hit you back almost immediately.
Excellent. Excellent. And the Redlands, I'm hoping that you will lean into Los Angeles. but I know that, your clients are everywhere. So,
Right.
But I'm hoping prayerfully that you will be based in LA.
I've been in Redlands this long because honestly it has excellent school system.
Okay.
But now that my son has graduated, it doesn't matter so much anymore. And so definitely I can see myself moving more in this direction.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And give us a couple of tips as we go out as an entrepreneur, just things to be on the lookout for, just quick and like down and dirty. What kind of advice would you give our entrepreneurs that are listening today?
Find a bookkeeper. That's your most important thing. Keep your money straight. Do as much research as possible to position your business and get in a networking group. You cannot survive without networking, no matter what kind. Those, I think, are my big 3 things for an entrepreneur. And don't get discouraged. Our business is very up and down, up and down, up and down. But don't get discouraged.
Thank you, Sarah Wilson. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.